You do not need 20% down to buy a home. Most buyers today are putting down somewhere between 3 and 10% depending on the loan. The price of the home, it is important, but it's not what you feel every month. What you feel is your payment. This includes your mortgage, your property taxes, insurance, and sometimes HOA fees depending on the neighborhood. You could buy a cheaper home with a high HOA and end up paying more every month than a higher priced home with no HOA. Right now, rates are still sitting around that 6 to 6.5% range. So the same home that you could afford a few years ago now costs more every single month. If you're not pre-approved to go buy a home today, you're not really in the market yet. You're just kind of browsing or looking, which is totally okay. Closing costs are usually 2 to 5% of the total purchase price when you're buying a home. So for instance, on a $1 million home, that could easily be $20,000 to $50,000 depending on where and what you're buying. You can change almost everything about a house, but you can't change where it is. A smaller home in a better location will almost always win long term. Timing the market is extremely hard. And in San Diego, prices tend to go up over time. So people wait and then they end up buying later at a much higher price anyway. If you understand these 10 things, you're already ahead of most buyers, and you're putting yourself in a position to win. If you are thinking about buying a home in San Diego, there's a few things you need to know first. Because this market is expensive, competitive, and honestly unforgiving if you get it wrong. In this video, I'm breaking down the 10 most important things you need to know before buying a home here in San Diego. And one of these mistakes can easily cost you tens of thousands of dollars if you're not careful. If you get this right, you're not just buying a home, you're buying the right home. So let's get into it. Number 10, you do not need 20% down. Let's clear this up right away. You do not need 20% down to buy a home. A lot of people think that they need to save hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get started, and that's just not true. Most buyers today are putting down somewhere between 3 and 10% depending on the loan. Yes, putting more down can help your payment, but waiting years just to hit 20% in San Diego can actually set you back. Because while you're saving, prices keep moving. So instead of asking, do I have 20%, ask yourself, can I comfortably afford the monthly payment at whatever percent you're putting down? Because that's really what matters. And that brings us to our next point. Number 9, the monthly payment is really what matters. The price of the home, it is important, but it's not what you feel every month. What you feel is your payment. This includes your mortgage, your property taxes, insurance, and sometimes HOA fees depending on the neighborhood. And in San Diego, those extra costs can add up fast. You could buy a cheaper home with a high HOA and end up paying more every month than a higher priced home with no HOA. So shift your mindset a little bit. Don't just look at the price, look at the full monthly cost, because that's what you live with and that affects your lifestyle. Now here is where most buyers kind of get caught off guard. Number 8, interest rates change everything. A small change in interest rates can completely change what you can afford. We're talking hundreds or even thousands of dollars per month depending on the interest rate. Right now, rates are still sitting around that 6 to 6.5% range. So the same home that you could afford a few years ago now costs more every single month. This is why trying to wait for the perfect moment can kind of backfire on you. If rates drop, more buyers jump into the market, and we've seen this time and time again, and prices usually go up. If rates go up, your buying power actually drops, but that's also the time you might be getting a deal. So instead of trying to guess the market, focus on the numbers. Focus on your numbers. What works for you today? But before you even think about shopping, you need to do this thing first. And number 7, it's getting a pre-approval. It's non-negotiable. If you're not pre-approved to go buy a home today, you're not really in the market yet. You're just kind of browsing or looking, which is totally okay. And this is the most common mistake I see. Someone finds a home that they absolutely love, they get excited, honey, we want to offer on it, and then they realize that they're not ready to make an offer, and that could delay them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days depending on their situation. By the time they're ready, the home's gone and you're sad. In San Diego, good homes, they move fast. Pre-approvals give you the clarity and speed that you need to make a good decision and a good offer. It tells you what you can afford and makes your offer stronger, and sellers actually take you seriously. And in this market, that truly matters. But even if you're pre-approved, there's still costs that catch people off guard. And then we go into number 6, closing costs. These things are real and they're not cheap. A lot of buyers plan for the down payment, but forget about closing costs. Closing costs are usually 2 to 5% of the total purchase price when you're buying a home. So for instance, on a $1 million home, that could easily be $20,000 to $50,000 depending on where and what you're buying. And this is where deals can kind of fall apart if you're not prepared and understand the financials. These costs could include lender fees, escrow, title, prepaid expenses. It all adds up quickly. So you need to budget this early, not at the last minute. But beyond the numbers, there's something even more important. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, all I ask that you hit the subscribe button and it'll really help me out a lot. Now back to the video. Number 5, location, location, location over everything. You can change almost everything about a house. You can remodel it, upgrade it, change it to your fit and your standards. You can totally make it your own, but you can't change where it is. And in San Diego, location affects everything. Your commute, your lifestyle, and your resale value. A smaller home in a better location will almost always win long term. So don't just fall in love with the house. Think about the area. Ask yourself, do I actually want to live here for the next 5, 7, or 10 years? Because that decision matters more than just getting a good deal. Now let's talk about something very specific to San Diego. Number 4, HOAs can make or break the deal. HOAs are everywhere here in San Diego, especially in newer communities. They can be great because they have pools, parks, maintenance, cleaner neighborhoods, and they're just newer, but they also add to your monthly costs, so you have to keep that in mind. Some are $100 a month, some are $500 or $600 a month or more. And it's not just about the money, it's also about the rules. What can you do with your home? Parking, can you rent it out? Can you not? So before you buy, understand exactly what you're getting into, because this can impact your day-to-day life more than you can even expect. Now let's talk about new construction. Number 3, new builds are not always better. New homes look amazing, they're clean, they're modern, and they're totally move-in ready. But that does not always mean that they're a better deal. New builds, you often pay a premium compared to the neighboring community. Landscaping costs extra, and you usually have an HOA. Resale homes can usually offer more value. More upgrades have already been done to the home, more established neighborhoods. So it's not about new versus old, it's really about what makes sense for you. And this leads to one of the biggest buyer's mistakes of all: stop trying to time the market. A lot of buyers here in San Diego are just waiting for prices to drop, waiting for rates to drop. But here's the reality: timing the market is extremely hard. And in San Diego, prices tend to go up over time. So people wait and then they end up buying later at a much higher price anyway. The better move is this: buy when you're ready, when the numbers make sense for you, because real estate is a longer term decision. And that brings us to the most important point of all: the right agent matters. This is the main difference. The right agent does not show you homes, they help you win. They help you understand value, structure offers, negotiate, and most importantly, avoid bad decisions. In a competitive market, that matters more than people think. The difference between a good and a great agent can cost you or save you a lot of money. So choose someone that knows San Diego and knows how to navigate this market really well. Buying a home in San Diego is not just about finding something you like, it's about making a smart move. If you understand these 10 things, you're already ahead of most buyers, and you're putting yourself in a position to win. If you're thinking about buying, I'd be happy to help you go through the process. Subscribe for more San Diego real estate insights here, and let me know in the comments what's the biggest thing that you're unsure about when it comes to buying. I'll see you guys in the next video.